Welcome back to the Cart Barn. I'm Chris Limley, joined by Greg DeWalt. This week, we have Trey Mullinax on the Cart Barn. Trey played at Alabama. He was on the national championship team at Alabama and now plays on the PGA Tour, lives in Birmingham, and had a really good interview.
Yeah, Trey was one of those guys, grew up at Musgrove and went from there. Has knocked out a really nice career on the PGA Tour. So why don't we just go ahead and get right into Trey Mullinax of the PGA Tour.
Welcome back to the Cart Barn. Today, we have Trey Mullinax with us. Trey grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, is a member of the PGA Tour, was a member of the 2013 and 14 winning team from Alabama with the NCAAs. And Trey, welcome to the Cart Barn.
Yeah, thank y'all, guys. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Good to see you, Trey.
Yes, sir.
Might as well just jump right into it. Tell us a little bit about, growing up, how you got into the game and where the magic all started.
Yeah, so kind of grew up playing golf. Grew up in Gardendale. Kind of grew up in Summerton for a little bit, and then moved to Gardendale when I was in sixth grade. And so, honest to goodness, it's kind of a weird story. So me and my buddies, we always played golf, right? But nothing really competitive, right? We just kind of, summertime, what are we going to do? Well, we'll go to the golf course and then go to the pool. It was mostly just go to the pool and hit some golf balls at the same time. And so kind of grew up doing that. And then in eighth grade, I think seventh or eighth grade, I was playing football and I broke my leg. I broke my femur, chipped off a piece, went up under my kneecap, and I had to have surgery. Well, needless to say, my college football career was over after that. My mom was like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. So during that time, I was in a cast for a little bit, and I couldn't really do a whole lot. So my dad would take me to the golf course, and we would chip and putt and just kind of hang out together. And I loved that one-on-one time that I got with him. And so, I played baseball, played basketball, played football, and obviously was pretty average at all of them. And so I'm like, I think I might just stick to golf. And so I stuck to golf. And the reason that happened was because of my dad. I loved spending that time with him and being out there on the golf course with him. And, I was like, man, I get to hang out with my dad every day and play golf. Like, sounds good to me. And so that's kind of how I started really kind of competing in golf. I played the Robert Trent Jones Jr. Trail, which that is not around anymore. But that's what I used to play pretty much the whole time. Robbie Shelton played on that tour, Robert Trent Jones Jr. Tour, and so that's kind of how I got started in golf. Was through that tour, played some SJGTs. Only played one AJGA event. Yeah, I didn't get invited to many. I think I played the Steelwood Country Club, and I think I finished dead last. That was my experience with the HAGA.
So what golf course were you and your dad going to?
Castle Pines. It's not there anymore, unfortunately. I hate that it's not there. But it was a great place for us to grow up playing, and I have so many fond memories of being there with all my buddies and going to the pool and hanging out. And so, unfortunately, it's not there anymore. But man, it was a phenomenal place to have when I was growing up.
Is it houses now or is it pasture land?
It's I think the front nine's like a horse farm. And then he kept a few holes on the back nine. I think the back nine is still there. I think he kept a few holes on it. The whole golf course is still kind of there. If he were to ever sell it. So keeping my ears open if he ever wants to sell it. So I might have to pull off the Lee Hodges book.
That's where I was going with that, man. I mean, you can't let Lee have a course and you not have one.
Yeah, Lee's probably a little smarter than I am in that regard. These four kids of mine got me tied up. So we putting a golf course on it. I think my wife might kill me. But no, now it is. I hate that it's not there anymore. I really do. But yeah, if they ever wanted to do anything with it, I'd probably be the one they want to call. I'd like to try something. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Are you a golf architect at heart?
Not really. I hate to say that. I'm probably the last person you'd want to design a golf course. I I can see things and I know what I like. But to sit here and tell you who designed what, I'm probably the worst at that. I couldn't tell you a Fazio from a whoever. So now I'm excited about what we're doing at Goal though. So I am excited about that. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, all the courses that he would design would have 300-yard par threes and 500-yard par fours and 600-yard par fives, and that'd be too long for me.
That sounds like right up my alley, though. I like that.
See, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you kind of decide, that golf could actually become a career? When, because you mentioned you didn't really play a bunch of SJGTs and AJGAs. So at some point you must have thought, hey, I can do this.
Yeah. So like I said, I played that Robert Trent Jones Junior Trail and won a bunch of those trophies. And then that kind of got me into the SJGT. And I kind of just stayed in that SJGT realm, right? And so, honest to goodness, I went to school at Alabama as a borderline walk-on. Coach gave me some books and some other stuff for scholarship. But, me and my dad kind of sat down and talked about it. I was like, if I ever want to maybe play this game for a living, like I need to go to a place that has a lot of really good players. And so I talked to Bobby Wyatt. He was going to Alabama. He's a good friend of mine and still is. And so we talked and, I kind of, I knew that's kind of where I wanted to go. I always grew up an Alabama fan. And so I was like, I know I'm going to have to work really, really hard to make this team. And if I can make that team, then I might have a chance. And so called the other schools that I had offers to and told them I wasn't going and I was going to go to Alabama. And so went there and worked my butt off. And honestly, it wasn't until my senior year at college that after I won Iowa, my senior year of college, and I became the #1 college golfer that fall. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. That number one at the end of the fall quickly dwindled after the spring started. So I was like, well, maybe not. Maybe I can't do this. But I had highlights. I had some highlights at least. But yeah, that was really, honest to goodness, after the fall of my senior year, I was like, I think after school I might try this. So,
what was the fallback position?
Oof. Go turn wrenches at my dad's shop. He always makes fun of me. He says that boy don't know a lug nut from a spark plug. I don't know. Would have been Plan B, honestly. I got to meet a lot of people through Alabama. So I don't know. Who knows what would have led? Only God knows that. So he's got me in where he's got me right now, and I'm happy to be doing it.
So you get to Alabama. You mentioned Bobby Wyatt. I know that you were, as I said, the team won back-to-back national championships. Tell us a little bit about that experience, about moving in from as you put it, a marginal walk-on into a starter.
Yeah. So that took a lot of practice, a lot of getting beat. I still don't think I've beat Corey or Bobby and Justin, and I still don't think I could beat them. But me and Justin are really the only ones playing still. Robbie Shelton was there my senior year. And so, the team we had in 2013 was awesome. It was me, Justin, Bobby, Corey, Scott Strohmeyer, Tom Lovelady, Lee Knox, Willie Sell. The list goes on. Robbie Prater. We had so many good players on that team. And so, honest to goodness, guys that didn't travel probably could have started on a lot of D1 programs. And that made us so much better as a team. Like knowing that you had to beat the 7 guy, right, to travel. Like that's, it wasn't just, these are the guys that are going. We had to earn our spot. And so that was the biggest thing for me. And so, that team in 13 was a special team. Getting to play with Justin a bunch, and he's still a good friend of mine, and we still talk a good bit. He still stays on my rear end pretty good about getting better. And then in 2014, you had me, Corey, Bobby, Robbie Shelton, and Tom Lovelady. A lot of people, remember the guys that played on tour, and Tom Lovelady played on tour for a year. He was a stud. He was a stud golfer. He still is. Don't let him fool you. And so we had such great teams. And, like I said, my sophomore year, I played a lot my freshman year. But my sophomore year, I didn't play a whole lot. I just kind of wasn't playing very good. I was mad, and just kind of honestly mad at the world. I was like, man, why am I not playing? Why does my golf game stink? Coach Sewell gave me every opportunity in the world, and I couldn't get it done. And so I went and had a conversation with Coach Sewell that summer. And he was like, you need to play in more big tournaments. You got to get more experience. Because that's just where I lacked. I didn't have much experience in big-time competition. And so even with playing my freshman year, I still was just lacking that confidence to compete in bigger tournaments, especially bigger college tournaments. And so he was like, you need to dive into every tournament you can play in. And I said, okay. So I went to work. And I worked my butt off, and I won the Northern Amateur, and then got some confidence from that, and then rolled it into the USAM, and then, started that season. And, 2013, I was ready to hit the ground running.
That's good stuff. I remember watching you. I don't remember what year it was, but at Burning Tree in the Spirit.
Yes, sir. That would have been 2013 with Jake Greer.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Me and Jake Greer played together.
Yeah. Growing up here in Decatur, and obviously played that golf course a million times. And I saw you hit a tee shot on 13. And at that time, I had never seen anyone hit one to where that ball went to. I said, this guy can move it.
Yeah. I hit some good ones that week. The driver's always been a club in my bag that's been a weapon. Some of the others are not. But that one was, and still is. And so, being able to hit it far and straight, it's a definite weapon for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned all the guys you played with, and I mean, there's so many guys from Alabama on tour. How much of a bond is there on the tour between you guys? Lee Hodges was later than you, but y'all have kind of similar backgrounds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So just what is it about that Alabama bond that keeps you guys, friends and together?
Yeah, I think, it's any kind of, you grow up in Alabama, the goal is to play on tour. So when you have guys that actually grew up in Alabama that have made it on tour, it is a bond, right? It's a special thing. Everybody kind of helps one another. Everybody gets stuck in different stages of life, right? I had kids pretty early in my career. And so, not that you lose contact with guys, but, it gets harder sometimes when you're trying to balance family life and road life and work life and all that. But I tell you what, it's a lot of fun when you get to play practice rounds with those guys. Just because it is a better feel. Like I've got paired with Lee a couple of times this year in tournaments, and Lee's such a good dude. He's a fun guy to play with. He's a heck of a competitor. And man, we tend to have a good time together. I didn't play as well in one of the tournaments as I'd wanted to, but man, Lee played great. He played awesome at Sea Island. We got paired together there. And so, that bond of because it's a special thing, right? I mean, there's not a ton of professional golfers that grew up in Alabama. And so it's a cool club to be a part of.
Yeah.
Now that Justin's got a child, have you offered any parenting advice to him?
I can tell him everything not to do. I can tell you that. Yeah, I can tell him everything not to do. Patience.
Well, speaking of him, I just looked over. He's two back of Scheffler.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Scheffler's got it to 12.
No way. Scotty Scheffler's winning an event?
Yeah.
No
Shocking,
way.
right? Yeah.
That's crazy. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
I thought I heard Nick Dunlap played pretty good yesterday.
He did, but he's fallen back a little bit. But anyway.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's a stud. He's a good kid too.
Yeah, very nice young man. Nice to see him having some success. Can you imagine? Could you imagine yourself winning as an amateur on tour?
No, no chance. No, sir. What he did. Right? I felt like, honestly, the golf world didn't give him enough respect for what he did. He did something that hadn't been done in 40-something years since Phil Mickelson won, and then he backed it up, turning pro and then winning again.
Yeah.
Wins
in a single year.
No, yeah. I don't think anybody ever in the history of golf did that.
Yeah.
Maybe Ben Hogan but he never. I don't know.
I don't think that's been done.
My history of golf is very poor, but I do know that I think Nick Dunlap was the first person to ever do that.
I think you're right.
No one ever really heard about it. No one like Golf Channel. I mean, they might have said something about it one time, but like, I mean, I felt like he kind of got underserved on what he accomplished this year as a 20-year-old, not knowing what the heck is going on, throwing him into the fire, right? I mean, the guy went from, he's supposed to be a junior in college right now.
That's
He's
right.
Not even 21.
Right.
But supposed to be a junior in college. He's out there winning tour events, and he won 2 tour events while he's 20. Like, who does that? And so, I mean, shout out to Nick. He deserves a little more credit. So
Yeah, I agree. Well, before we move into the professional ranks, looking back at your college years, who were some of the biggest influences, both coaches and teammates, or anybody else that kind of helped get Trey to where he is today?
yeah, I would like to Coach Sewell. He was like, my dad's my best friend, but he was kind of like a father figure to me in school. He spent a lot of time with me. He is a phenomenal man, phenomenal coach, husband, father. He didn't just teach us what it was like to be a good golfer. He taught us what it was like to be a good man. And so I owe a lot to him. And he taught me how to chip, taught me how to putt a little bit better. He kind of helped me in all realms of golf. So when I got to school, I was always I was always a good ball striker, right? I could hit the ball well. I could, hit my driver well. I could hit my irons well. Scoring was just tough, right? I would, they always told me I was the best at hitting 17 greens and shooting 2 over par. And so I was like, thanks, guys. So he just kind of helped me learn that, like, hey, let's turn these 74s into 72s. Well, this is how we're going to do that. Or, let's turn these 72s into 69s. How do we do that? And so he just kind of helped me navigate that a little bit. And then when I got out of school, to be able to use what he taught me and how to navigate these golf courses, it helped me a lot through Q school, which was a big thing for me. But even our assistant coaches, we had rock star assistant coaches. Scott Limbaugh was my coach for 2 years. Rob Bradley, Mike McGraw, they all single-handedly had a part in helping me get to the PGA Tour. Scott Limbaugh, his mental toughness that he would instill in me. He's a football coach that coaches golf. And so he helped me so much with just the mental toughness that you had to have, right? And then Coach Bradley, he showed me so much of on how to just score in golf. Like, hey, we don't have to be perfect. Let's just do this. Let's just do that. Let's hit the middle of the green here. And then McGraw, he was all around. McGraw would walk with me and just help me stay focused. So like each one of them had so many different roles that they played in helping me get to where I was. And obviously Coach Sewell, I have a lot to owe for him. And then, some of the guys that we got to play with in college, if you couldn't get better, then that was your own fault. When I go back and think about my freshman year, like walking around watching Bud Colley chip, to this day, he still has some of the best hands I've ever seen. The guy, I don't think I ever saw him not get a ball up and down out of a bunker. It was just, no matter if it was plugged, good lie, downhill lie, didn't matter. The guy was a wizard with, chipping. And then you had a guy like Justin Thomas who could hit a 6-iron and not move a yard. Well, Bobby White hit the prettiest draw you've ever seen off the tee. Corey Whitson had one of the best short games I've ever seen. Robbie Sheldon could hit we'd play a game his freshman year, and we'd go on the driving range and we'd play a game called flags. And he'd hit every flag. It was incredible what he could do. And then Tom Lovelady was such a great putter. Like Hunter Hamrick never missed a fairway, I'm pretty sure. And so it was just, we had so many guys that you could learn from. So if you didn't want to get better, it was because you didn't want to work hard enough. And so I think every one of these guys that I played with, I owe a lot to, because they helped me get.
Did you have a teacher when you were playing your high school golf?
Yes, sir. So a guy named Archie Burroughs. He's at Hoover Country Club.
The legend.
Still coaching to this day, 84 years old. Phenomenal man. He was like a grandfather to me. My dad's dad passed away when I was young, and my mom's dad passed away when I was young. So man, I think I saw Archie Burroughs every day for 4 years. I mean, I was over at his place every night, and even through all through high school, all through college, professional golf. I don't get over there as much as I wish I could right now with having kids, but we still text and we still talk. And at the end of the day, if I ever am down in the dumps and I just need something, I always end up going and seeing him, and he normally fixes me up pretty quick.
He's good. Archie's a really, really good guy. He really is. In his studio, Greg, if you haven't been there, it's right there kind of on Hoover Country Club, and it's really nice. It's a really nice place.
It's a really good spot. You know, I work a lot with Mark Blackburn now. Because bless his heart, Archie, he just can't really go to tournaments much anymore. And he'll every now and again text Mark, like, "Hey, don't you mess him up. Don't you?" Mark showed me a text. I'm like, he's telling the truth now. Come over here and whoop you now. But Archie, he's a good man.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You know, almost everybody who's played at a high level of golf has got that one guy growing up that, you know, whether he was an assistant pro that kind of took a liking to somebody, or the head pro that you kind of got close to and really helped you out taking the next step. And I don't know if that's unique to golf, but it's kind of cool that, you know, this, you know, 20 years later, 15 years later, you still talk to Archie, you know, so much.
100%. I mean, when I first went and saw him, I didn't hit a golf ball for 6 months. He had this thing. He'd make me set up like a golf shot, and he made me put my rear end on the wall. He said, until you can make a full golf swing and not hit that wall, you ain't hitting a golf ball. I mean, I beat the you-know-what out of this wall behind me. I mean, every time I take it back, I'd hit the wall. Every time I take it back, I hit the wall. And so, I mean, I'm not joking. I bet you it was 4 months. I didn't hit one golf ball until I could have my hind end up against that wall and make a swing and not hit the wall. And we did it, and every day I knew what I was going to go do. I'm like, oh, great, going to swing against this wall again. And every time I feel like, I was like, all right, today's the day. I got it. Today. And I remember the day that I swung and I didn't hit the wall, and Archie was like, all right, let's go. And he was man of his word. As soon as I swung and I didn't hit it, he was like, all right, now we can hit a golf ball. And I remember it was I remember it was my 9th grade year. We were down there, it was freezing cold. And we were down there before he had the barn. We did it in the bottom of his garage. And so to this day, if you go to his garage, you're going to see every mark that I hit on that wall. Thousands of them, thousands of marks.
So tell the listeners what was the purpose of that drill?
So the purpose of that drill is so what I did is I rolled the club inside. So I'll roll the club inside, get it across the line, and then duck it, and then, you know, drop it back under. So as a kid, right, you're trying to hit it as hard as you can, right? So I would swing it in and go up and then swing it down. So he was just trying to get me to get the club more in line on the way back. So more kind of when I take it away, it's more on my hands, and then it got vertical, and then I just traced that line on the way down. And then the reason he wanted me to not hit it on the way through was because he wanted me to finish with high hands. And so, shoot, I probably should go try that. I bet I'd hit the wall right now. And so that was a lot of the drills that we did. I tell you what, and Archie, he was so good. So a lot of this stuff that y'all see on TV, that I always told him this too. I said, Archie, you need to go put this on the Golf Channel or this or that. And I'm not telling you, every single time I told him that, 6 months later, a person would invent something that he already invented. He already had. There's so many things at the Golf Channel, like these guys were promoting and all that. I mean, heck, I was working with it 2 years before they said anything about it, which was crazy.
Yeah. That move, that's a common thing for amateur golfers, just dragging that thing inside.
Yes, they just want to drag it in and they want to throw it up and get it across the line, and then, you know, you either got two options when you're across the line. You're either going to cast it or you're going to drop it under. Both don't end in a very good result. But
I think I'm living proof of that.
My dad, I guarantee you, my dad, he watched me do it every day for 20 years. And I guarantee you he's going to go hit that wall the first time he takes it.
So you're working with Mark Blackburn now. do you still go back to that? Maybe not do that drill, but think about it, when you're not hitting the ball as well as you can.
Yeah, Archie will always be a man that I reach out to, that I'll always send a swing to. Not only just because he was my coach for so long, because I love him. He's he's a pretty much like a grandfather figure to me. But Mark's so good just with how your body moves and how to get the club in positions that you can. I feel like that's a very important for amateurs is, when you try to go look at somebody else's swing, well, your body might not be able to move that way. You might not have the upper body rotation that somebody else has, but you might have more lower body rotation than somebody else has. Especially in the amateur world, a lot of guys are tighter, right? A lot of guys that don't play golf every day and all that, they're tighter, right? Because they're either sitting at a desk and working or doing something. They're not stretching every day, right? So they go on here and they try to get in these positions of Max Homa or Trey Mullinax or Lee Hodges or whoever that is, right? Well, they can't do it because their bodies just aren't doing it. Well, I feel like when guys go get lessons, you need to have guys that understand how your body moves and how you can get in the same position more consistently. Because if you can get in the same position more consistently, well, then your body can figure out how to do the rest. And so Mark's really good at that with me. He knows I go see Archie. I mean, he knows he's my guy, and he's always. But I mean, Mark travels with us every week. I mean, Mark's my guy now, and I love Mark. I love what he's helped me with. I've learned a lot with working with Mark, and like I said, the reason I really like Mark is because he has so many different players, and not one of them swings it the exact same. And I think that's the tell sign of a good coach is how he can work with guys with what they have and not try to make everything his picture perfect golf swing.
Yep.
And I think that's important.
Couldn't agree more. So you're obviously known, and you've even acknowledged on here so far that about your length. What is it that gives you that power and that length, Trey?
So when I was young, again, Archie, he always told me he wanted me to swing the driver like a whip. And so if you think about a whip, at impact is when it has the strongest force, right? And so he always wanted me to feel like I whipped it on the way down and almost like hit and backed up, right? So like I would hit it and then it's almost like a whip, like and so like that's kind of what I did when I was growing up. I tried to just whip it to where all the force was at the ball. So I tried to create all the force within that 2 feet area, right? So before contact, 2 feet behind the ball, I would try to create as much force as I possibly could. And that's how I kind of started hitting it far. It's also why probably my back foot stays on the ground for a long time, because I would always, when I would whip it, I'd kind of be like in this position. So I'd whip it. Now I didn't have a ton of side bend, which is why my back has been okay. But I would whip it, but I'd keep my foot on the ground, and that actually helped me create more speed. Because you start lifting up, when you start lifting your foot off the ground, you start kind of losing some speed unless you're rotating at a super high level. Well, I just kept my foot on the ground and just threw my hands at it and just would create speed. And it helped being as tall as I am and be able to have long levers to whip it down.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that are smaller, they have to use their lower body more and they have to jump.
That's right.
To create distance. Well, being a guy like myself, I didn't have to jump. I had long levers and I tried to use it as a lever. So I just tried to pull it down and whip it. So that's kind of how I started hitting it far.
What are your stock yardages, especially like with your driver? What's your carry?
I mean, with the driver, I can carry it enough. I can carry it as far as I need to. Now if there's a bunker out there 340, I'm probably not going to carry it. But I mean, I can, if there's a bunker at 320 and I got a little bit of help, I feel pretty confident I can cover that bunker. I think on average I'm 300s, 305 carry, somewhere around in there. Now with this weather right now, probably about 275. But
yeah, it's cold
in the heat. I would like to. I mean, I can carry it on average probably around 310, 305, 310.
So
I love. Go ahead.
you guys are why the USGA is wanting to roll the ball back.
I know it. People ask me about my opinion on that. I say it's above my pay grade. I don't know why we just don't go back to hitting. If they want to make the ball not go as far, just make the head smaller. Make guys swing at it a little slower, and make sure they hit the middle of the face. Because I mean, shoot, some of them drivers that y'all played back in the day, you can't if you swing them hard and miss it, it ain't gonna go anywhere.
I was just gonna say, have you ever hit a persimmon driver?
I have. So I've hit my dad's stuff a good bit, and it's crazy. I mean, the center of the face is just such an important part, and so I mean, the only thing I don't like about rolling the ball back is that y'all play a different ball than us, and it's like it's always been the reason. We can all play the same equipment, and the pro guys are always going to be a little better. Well, now everybody's going to have an excuse. Oh, we play a different ball, or we play this, and I get it. I mean, guess what? I mean, if they come out with a new ball that we got to play, guess what? I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna try to figure it out. So that's the only thing I can do. So,
but it's interesting because I grew up. I was in late 70s when I played college golf and persimmon. So I learned to play the game hitting the fairway. Because with your misses with the persimmon, so that's how I learned to play. Hit the fairway. Length wasn't as big an issue. Today, people learn, whack it as far as you can because the clubs are so forgiving.
Yeah, 100%. And so now I feel like technology has been great for golf, but I also feel like right now it could be difficult. I'm sorry, my son's trying to get in here.
All right.
I feel like, junior golfers now, they're just searching for speed, right? That's all they're looking for. Speed. I would say arguably the most important shot on the PGA Tour is your tee shot. Because if you're not in the fairway, you're not going to have a chance to score. Now, don't get me wrong, having length and being able to hit the fairway, well, that's really nice, right? But fairways on tour are so important just because it's just so hard to play out the rough. And if you look at Scotty Scheffler, I mean, not only does he hit it far, but he hits it super straight. I mean, he's hitting out of the fairway every hole. Guys that normally contend each week, off the tee, they're probably pretty good because that was a lot of opportunities, right? And that's all it is giving yourself the max amount of opportunities, right? You're always going to hit it further with new equipment that is coming out and all that. But I think if we're not careful, you're going to see a lot of junior players end up getting hurt because all they're wanting to do, because their bodies are changing so much through high school and all this stuff, and they're working out and all that. But like everybody's just chasing speed. It's so easy on this track, man, to see, oh, I swung that one 117. I bet I can get 120. I bet I can get 123. And so if you're not careful and all you do is chase speed, well, then all of a sudden you're going to see yourself in the trees a lot too. Because there's a beauty of having speed, but also having accuracy. And sometimes swinging it at 123 versus 117 and hitting that 117 in the middle, it goes just as far as when you swung at 123 and you hit it on the toe. And you're not in the water or the woods or something like that. And so I think that teaching speed is fine, but teaching it properly is the biggest thing. And making sure that, not only do we have good control of our speed, but we have good control of the club face and how we're hitting it in the middle of the face.
Right.
Well, you want to transition into talking about some professional golf? I think you turned pro in 14.
I did. Turned pro in 2014, went through Q school, made it all the way to final stage. Didn't play great at final stage. And so needed some things to go my way. Justin Thomas, a good buddy of mine, wrote a letter to the Panama director, tournament director at the time, Chico. I'll always remember Chico and him giving me a spot into that event. I ended up top 25 and parred the last hole to top 25. Or I might have bogeyed it. I forget. But I know I finished top 25 on the number, finished 25th. That got me into the next week. And then, played well from there in, honestly. Finished third or fourth in San Francisco to kind of lock up my Korn Ferry card. And that was when they went off money. And so didn't get my tour card, but was able to keep my Korn Ferry card, which was honestly the best thing that could happen for me. Because it gave me another year of kind of learning what do I need to do, like how to travel, how to do all this kind of stuff. And then I ended up winning the 6th event of the year in Raleigh to get my card and be able to play on tour. So it's been a lot of fun. And
Been some ups and downs too, though, with the injuries. I mean, it's fluke stuff. With 20, was it 20 or 22 that
2019, I got hit in the head. Got a concussion. Fluke accident. I mean, he wasn't trying to hit me. It just so happened to hit me. And then I had hip surgery last year in 2023. And so, I'm really looking forward to this year. And I just had surgery on my knee. I tore my meniscus in Cabo. So that was fun. And so just had surgery on that. So I'm almost 2 weeks out. So I'm looking forward to next year of playing, not having anything hurt. So it's going to be nice. But all in all, I mean, super blessed to do what I do. Honestly, I wouldn't trade any of the ups and downs for anything. Obviously, you probably want to play a little more consistent, but when I look back at all the times that maybe not have gone my way in golf, it's probably been some of the best years of my life. I've got 4 beautiful kids. I got a 6-year-old daughter. I got a 4-year-old son, about to be 2-year-old son, and a 9-month-old daughter. And so, when I look back at, those times of it being really difficult, just in my golf, honestly, in my career, I look back at those times and I got to spend the most time with my kids. So, the good Lord always tells you, there's going to be valleys in your life. He don't always tell you you're going to come out of them either, but, he's helped me out of a lot of these valleys. And so I'm very thankful for it.
That's a great perspective all the way around. Yeah.
I try to tell myself that 'cause sometimes it is hard to see that.
Of course it is.
Sometimes it's hard to know, hey, I'm going through some stuff right now and this stinks, but hey, I get to be here and go to my son's baseball game. So that's pretty cool too.
Sure.
And so just enjoying being a dad, being a husband, being a leader for my house. That's the best thing I could ever do. So
how do you balance the travel with the home life? You got to kind of pick and choose, carefully where you're playing at, right? And, when you can be home and how much you maximize the home time.
Yeah. So, I mean, we homeschool right now. And so they travel with me, I mean, pretty regularly. We look like clamp is going through but we got about 20 things of luggage, but we do it. I mean, we get on those Delta flights and it ain't pretty. People think, oh, the glamorous life of the tour. I said, just come follow me on a Monday. It ain't very glamorous.
Yeah.
We're going through Delta. I got bags on top of my head. I got kids running around everywhere, but I have an amazing wife. We met in high school. And so her name's Abby and she's phenomenal. She's such a good mom and such a great wife and a leader of our house as well. And so she's great. And I tell you what, she's a rock star. She's traveled multiple times with all of our kids by herself to meet me at a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all know, you couldn't pay me to do that by myself with all 4 of my kids. No chance. But I tell you what, she has them trained. I told her, I said, we need to act like we're at the airport every day. Because as soon as they see that airport, all of a sudden they look like trained dogs. They are holding the stroller, not saying a word, not asking for this. I said, what did you do to these kids? I said, every time we pull up the house, we're like, oh, we're home. Like, no, we're at the airport. No, go to the airport. So she done something to them.
Oh, that's a good story.
So when you get to a tournament and it's Tuesday morning, you just say, all right, Abby, you got the kids and I'll be back like 6:00. See you then.
Yeah. I mean, she's been around golf for so long now that she understands it. And she would just rather be at the events with us than not be there. And it helps me out a lot too, because even when you have those bad rounds, like I still get to go home and be dad.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you have those bad rounds, you just go home and sit by yourself in a hotel room or an Airbnb house or whatever, it can get pretty lonely. And so having my kids there, if I go out and have a bad round and they don't care, they're just glad Dad walked in through the door and let's go to the pool. Let's go hang out. Let's go do something, so it does help me. Now, don't get me wrong. It's stressful. I mean, traveling and doing all the things. Mondays are normally, they're not easy, but they're worth it. That's what I would say. And sometimes I don't handle them as well as I should. But my wife is there to quickly remind me to quit being a baby. So she's good at that.
Well, let's talk about your victory on the tour.
Yeah.
Barbasol.
Yes, sir. So that was a fun week. So ironically enough, I was talking to a guy named Stephen Bunn the week before. He runs College Golf Fellowship, and I just missed 3 cuts in a row. I was probably 140 something on the list on the FedEx. I was ready to quit. I was ready to be done. I really was. I told them, I was like, I'm just going to go call Coach Sewell, see if he wants to hire me as assistant coach or something, because I'm done doing it. I'm tired of it. I'm done. I was at a low spot, and he just kind of kept reminding me of, hey, what's God's purpose for your life? And I was like, well, I mean, I guess it's to play golf right now. Hadn't really been asking him that. And he goes, well, you can't do anything else right now, so I'm assuming this is what he asked for you, so you might as well go out there and enjoy it. And until he tells you otherwise, go fight. Go do it. Go do it as best as you can. And so, me and my caddy Julian Trudeau at the time, I kind of told him what he told me, and literally all week, that's all we talked about was, hey, this is God's purpose for my life. This is what I'm going to do. This is his purpose. This is his purpose. This is his purpose for my life. And we, have a few other things that we were telling each other, and so, but that was kind of the concept that week. I was going to go out, when I shot, I was just going to enjoy it, have fun. And this was his purpose for my life. And I ended up winning the event. And that was right after my dad just got the all clear from stage 4 cancer. And so I get goosebumps thinking about that week because, like I said, my dad's my best friend. And so to see your best friend going through what he had to go through and how much it almost killed him, to have them all there to celebrate, and my children and my mom and my dad and, so many close friends that were there, was pretty special to get that win. But yeah, I promise you, I was so ready to be done with golf. And honestly, things ain't changed. I still have to tell myself that, this game will beat you up and spit you out and not ask for anything on its way doing it. And so it's a hard game. I love the game of golf. I love how competitive it makes you, the mental toughness that it takes. And so, but yeah, it's that's kind of the story of that week was I was ready to quit and then I win.
That's interesting. So what's your go-to away from the game besides hurting the kids?
Yeah. You know what? That's a great question. It was pickleball. I loved to play pickleball. I don't get to play it as much anymore, but I keep having kids. So I have a hard time getting away from the house. But honestly, if I'm not practicing, I'm here hanging out with them. I love being a present dad. I love kind of hanging. Don't get me wrong. I'll go play golf with some of my buddies. If they want to go play, I'll go play with them. But most of the time when I'm home, after I get done practicing, I'm home. I love going to the yard and throwing the baseball with my son, or if my daughter wants me to watch her do her cartwheels, or, we stay pretty active between ballet and gymnastics and basketball and baseball and, choir and all the stuff that we have going on. Monday through Friday is pretty booked. So we love being on the go. Me and my wife, we love being home. We love being on the go. We love taking the kids and letting them have fun. And so, like I said, I'll play golf here and there a little bit when I'm home, but when I'm home, I tend to be here with them.
You're going to have a hard time coaching all 4 of them's teams or whatever as they get older and still try to play.
I told Abby we're going to have to, we can't do more than one. Because if we do more than one, we're going to be in trouble. Because I told her, we're going to have to segment. Well, Sawyer has a fall sport. Jude has a spring sport. River has this sport. We're going to have to separate it by the seasons. And so it's going to be, I can't wait to be able to do that one day. I can tell you that. I'm going to try my best not to be super competitive. I'm going to keep my cool. That's my goal. Just keep my cool. I'm not going to get worked up.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Do you still get nervous on your first tee shot of a tournament or each round?
Every time. Every time. After the first tee shot, I'm good. I don't really get that much nervous. I don't really get that nervous anymore. Now, sometimes when you see me hit some of the shots I hit, they're like, man, was he nervous? Or, sometimes that'll happen. But unfortunately, that's just because it was a bad shot. But I always, the first tee is always something I look forward to, right? You never know when they're not going to call your name on the first tee again. And so I take it with great pride. And I love how they're able to call my name and Trey Mullinax from Birmingham, Alabama, and now on the tee, so you never know when that's going to go away. So I get nervous, but I think it's just because I'm excited. And I'm blessed to be able to do what I do.
Speaking of that, what do you have some professional goals for this coming year, this coming season? You're talking about getting to play pain-free and injury-free. And what goals do you have for this coming year?
Yeah, it's a big year, especially with all the changes that are being made in golf. They're going to be cutting it to 100 cards pretty soon, and so my back's kind of up against the wall. I got a certain amount of events that I got to play in. I got 21 events this year because I'm coming off a medical, so I got 21 events, and I know what I got to do. The goal's to win, though. I mean, the goal's to get back in that winner's circle. It's been too long. I got a lot of improvement to do. I got a lot of things I got to work on. But I'm not scared to work. I'll work on it, and it might not be pretty for a long time, but I'll eventually figure it out. And so the goal is to just honestly get a little bit more consistent. I've had some really good runs, but then it kind of goes down. So just trying to be more consistent this year, trying to get on more runs, that kind of builds you into your good weeks. Try to be a little more consistent in that regard. I have stuff that I want to do throughout the year, hit a few more fairways, make a few more 10-footers, stuff like that. But honestly, just trying to be more consistent, have a little more fun out there. It can get kind of too businessy out there sometimes, but be a little more consistent, have a little more fun, and just try to, honestly, we gotta, goals make it East Lake, right? That's at the end of the day, that's the goal. And so try to win, try to get back in that winner's circle, and just honestly, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, if I give it everything I got, then that's all I can do. And if I work my tail off and that's a win, or if I work my tail off and I missed my card or whatever that is, as long as I work really hard at it and I give it everything I got, then I can lay my head down at night and accept the result. And so, like I said, you're not given anything in this game. You got to go get it. And so I got to go get it, and I'm going to give it everything I got.
So Trey, what courses out there on tour do you feel like set up the best for you? Which ones do you really get excited when you get to go play there?
Torrey's probably my favorite.
Everybody says that.
I love
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I love Torrey. It's just such a good setting for the beginning of the year. It's, you're still kind of wearing a sweater, you can have coffee in the morning and you got a great view. And I mean, Palm Springs is awesome. So you get to start the year off in some pretty great places. And so, I mean, I don't really know if there's a golf course that's like tailor made for me. I played well on courses I thought I'd played awful at. Like I got a top 10 at Tampa that I still to this day don't know how I top 10'd it. And so, and I always play pretty good at Honda, and I hate that place, or not Honda, Cognizant now, at the PGA National, and I hate that place, but I always find somehow to play pretty good. So I think that, sure, there's horses for court, or, the whole saying, horses for courses and all that kind of stuff. And so, I like courses that are challenging off the tee and long. Because if I'm driving it well, then that's a clear advantage for me. I love Hilton Head. I love Memphis.
It's not long.
No, but I just love the tree line. I love the kind of old school feel you get. I love Memphis. I love Torrey. I love Palm Springs. I love Riv. I love, heck, I probably could tell you the ones I don't like versus the ones I love, because there's not very many. like I said, I feel like when you're playing well at those courses that you might not feel like you play that well at, you're like, man, this place is made for me. And it's like most times it's like, yeah, not really, but you're just playing pretty good. And so, I guess the courses I would say that are made for me are the ones I played well at. I guess that's what I get.
How will the changes, the reduced fields, affect what tournaments you get into or not, or will it?
Yeah, so I'm not in any elevated events right now. I'm gonna have to play my way into those, which is fine. I understand where I'm at. I mean, do I like where the game of golf is going? Not really, but I don't have any control over it. So I'm gonna play in what they tell me to play in and try to play the best I can in whatever I am in. And so, it's sad to see that you kind of separate the two a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm going to play, like I said, I'm going to play with what I'm going to play and try to play as best as I can to get myself into those events.
Is the 144 man field now, that's 12 players. Is it really going to make a huge difference in pace of play and getting done every round early?
Probably not. Guys will just play slower. It's just gonna take more time to get done. Like every year. I mean, we've had guys. I mean, we've been doing it for 30 years now, where guys have to, get up in the morning and go play. It's kind of, honestly, it was kind of the way, like as a rookie. Like in Palm Springs, you knew on Friday morning you're going to have to go finish your Thursday round, and stuff like that. So like, at the end of the day, as you can see fans wise, I don't really think it's a 60-man field versus a 144-man field. I don't think the ratings are showing that much of a difference. And so, they don't really, like I said, that's above my pay grade. Do I like it? No. Do I think it's going to make a difference? No. But, I'm going to do as I'm told and play with what I'm playing. I have my opinions, but like my mom said, if you don't have nothing else to say, don't say it. So,
well, they always told me. I told them at work, if you don't like my opinion, don't ask for it.
Well, that's kind of how I'm gonna sit here with my mouth shut. I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything I need to go back on. So
I don't say anything that $23 million a year Jay Monahan might get mad at you about.
Whoa, that man get paid, don't he? Holy cow, 23 a year. I didn't know he got paid that much.
He makes a nice check.
A buddy of mine sent me that, and I was like, man, he's got a nice job. Yeah. Unbelievable. 23 million. What he made? He was the second highest guy on tour, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Xander beat him last year.
I think so.
Xander barely caught him. Yeah. That must be nice. That's incredible.
But do you have like certain, not to put you on the spot, but when you see the pairings come out for the first two rounds, are there guys you just like dread getting paired with, or is it just, doesn't matter?
I'm not too picky about it, honestly. Because at the end of the day, like, there's not a whole lot of talking that goes on anyway, because, I'm going over here to hit my ball. You might say a couple, even like I got paired with Lee Hodges at Sea Island, like we talk, but like, and honestly too, like when a guy's rolling, you don't really want to, get in his way. Like I wasn't playing that great at Sea Island, and Lee was like, he was playing unreal. And I was like, I'm gonna kind of get out of the way. Keep doing your thing, bud. And so the pairings to me don't really matter that much. I can tend to have fun with about any of them. And so, they don't really mean that much to me, honestly. Now it is fun on Sundays when you get paired with, some good guys and, it's going to be a battle and that's fun. But Thursday, Friday, I don't really get too worked up about pairings.
Well, tell us what's a Tuesday like?
Tuesday. So Tuesdays for me, Monday's travel day most of the time. If I don't have my family with me, if it's a rare week, but I don't have them, I'll, fly out late Sunday night or something. But Tuesdays are, I get to the golf course, I work out, I see my PT guy, and kind of get things loosened up, get my body rolling. I'll probably end up, doing some putting stuff, getting on my TrackMan, playing some games, getting everything kind of dialed in with, irons and kind of that stuff, and then go play 9 holes when I'm finished with that. Or sometimes I'll end up going and playing 9 early in the morning and doing my work after. So my work tends to be, I'll do a lot of speed drills, short putt drills, mid-range drills, short game stuff, irons and wedges on the TrackMan, and then I'll play some driver games on the TrackMan too. But that normally doesn't take as much time as the putting. Putting drills are annoying, but they're needed, right? But they're annoying. And so do those, and then Wednesday you got your pro-am. You either going to practice before or after, so you just kind of choose. But they're long days. I mean, Tuesday's normally the longest day I have. I mean, I'm there from sun up to sundown pretty much.
Yeah.
And then Wednesdays are a little more relaxed. And then Thursdays, obviously, it's game time and time to get going.
Do you try to get a group of guys to play the practice round with, or do you like to solo it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like I said, my family goes a lot with me. So I normally on Tuesdays try to get my work done before I get home and hang out with them. So I like going pretty early on Tuesdays. And so if guys want to go, great. If not, I'll just kind of go by myself. It's not that big a deal to me. And so I usually go either early or late. I don't tend to play much in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'll either go super early in the morning, first off or something like that, or last off in the late evening. So because when my family is there, I try to be home for dinner. I try to, be home with a little bit of daylight left, kind of hang out with kids. So
yeah, let's get into the logistics of being out there with your family. And I know the tour kind of helps you guys plan your travel, and do they help plan your, where you're staying, or does your wife handle that, or?
No, solo. So my agents help me out a lot. Charlie Daniels, he plans a lot of that stuff for me. Without him, I'd probably lose my head if it wasn't attached. And so he helps book all that stuff. Yeah. So that's what a lot of people don't understand is, I mean, on the PGA Tour, we're probably the only professional sport where you got paid to go to work. And so you pay for your flights, you pay for your Airbnb, you pay for all the stuff that you're wanting to do that week, right? And so it's a the PGA Tour is a luxury, but you pay for it. And so it costs a lot to be able to travel. So I feel for a lot of rookies out here that, because the Corn Ferry, you don't make a whole lot, and then they throw you out in the ringer with like, hey, your first event's Hawaii, so good luck getting there. And so that's kind of a tough one.
Do you mostly try to stay in Airbnbs when you got the family with you?
Yeah, we don't do hotels a lot, and that's not a knock on hotels. It's just sometimes with 4 kids, you can get pretty stir crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So usually we try to do a house with a yard or a pool or something like that to kind of keep them entertained.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And is Abby cooking for you on those nights?
Yeah, she's a phenomenal cook. She cooks probably every night when we're on the road. So we have a lot of groceries at our house, which my kids, they can go through some snacks. So we got all the snacks. We got everything. If you want to go back and live your childhood, just come over to our house, because we're probably going to have every snack you had when you're over there. So we got all the fixings, I can tell you that. But yeah, she cooked. I would say we probably eat out, maybe twice during the week. Yeah, but most of the time we're eating in, because when I come home from the golf course, I don't really want to kind of go and take. I mean, as y'all have had kids, taking 4 kids to a restaurant's pretty terrible. And so we tend to not.
Yeah, and then so when you miss a cut or something, you got the family with you. Are you flying out Saturday morning, or are you flying out? Are you staying?
Yeah, it kind of depends on where we're going next. If it's kind of a run of 3 in a row, we might stay, and if we can change our flight, change our Airbnb, we might go early. If we're coming home, normally we leave Saturday. But like in Vegas, I missed the cut, and we stayed all weekend because we had kind of made a little vacation week, right? We had a nice house, we had a good pool, we had a good setup, and then we went and went exploring. We went on some trails and stuff like that. So it was fun.
Good.
Yeah. So we try to make it enjoyable too. The kids, they don't. I tell people a lot of times, my 6-year-old daughter's been to more places than many grown men have been, and so she's a world traveler. I can tell you that. And so they love going on the road with me, and they love going to golf tournaments. They love going to daddy's tournaments and hanging out, and so it's a lot of fun.
That's cool. Yeah.
Well, Abby must have the patience of a saint.
Patience, yeah, I can tell you that.
You get to go play golf. She's got the kids 24/7.
I told you. I don't know why she's so good to me, but she is.
She's pro golfer. You're the pro golfer, man.
Yeah, shoot. I tell you what, I'd rather do my job than hers any day. Bring all the bogeys. I don't care. I couldn't do what she does. I can promise you that.
So what have you got in the bag these days?
So right now I'm sponsored by Wilson. So I got Wilson irons and then Ping driver. I got a mini driver that I use as like my 3-wood, stuff like that. And then I got
what's the loft on that, Trey?
13.5. Yeah, so I honestly use it as like my driver a lot. Pretty much holes that draw, I hit that club. Holes that fade, I hit my driver. I try to keep it pretty simple.
You playing an LST driver?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So that TaylorMade mini drivers helped me a lot just on holes that draw. It's just kind of made me to where I feel like I can just swing the club and it does it on its own. I've never been a great 3-wood player, and so that club's helped me a lot this year, just off tee and feeling comfortable. And then I got Titleist wedges and Scotty Cameron putter.
What ball?
Titleist, the new 25X.
X.
Yes, sir. That's what I play. And so I got a great setup. I'm sponsored by great people, and so it's been a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
How did you kind of get the relationship with Wilson? I'm an old Wilson guy, so I'm always interested when people play Wilson clubs.
Yeah, for sure. They reached out to me after 2022. 2021. They reached after me, and was able to look at their irons and kind of check them out. They're such a beautiful set of irons, and Ron and all those guys at Wilson are just great people. And so I had an opportunity to go with them and took the opportunity.
I know. I think like back when I was growing up, we didn't have Cobra, we didn't have TaylorMade. Wilson was a major brand, and then now I don't think people understand the history behind the brand a lot. Now they're making a push back into the American market, and they do make good equipment.
Yeah, they do. I mean, my dad played Wilson forever. Wilson, I think they had the most. I think they still may have the most majors of any club company.
Probably true. Yeah.
And so the history of Wilson goes back forever. I mean, a lot of people now know Wilson as like, tennis rackets or tennis balls or basketball or something like that. But their history in golf goes back, a long time. I don't know how far, but a long time.
True fact, I got a Wilson leather bag down in my basement.
I got one too. Yep, I've got one. They're awesome.
It's too heavy to carry.
Yeah, I ain't lugging it around. I got a like a moon bag, an all leather Wilson moon bag. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I take it around Shoal sometimes on the par 3. So it's
So you practice out at Shoal?
Yes, sir. Shoal Creek. That's where I play and practice. I live in Greystone Country Club over here on this side of 280.
Yeah.
And so we got 2 great golf courses. And that gives us the opportunity to kind of play different courses depending on where you're going. So it's a great membership at both places.
Yeah.
What Greystone course do you like the best?
Probably Legacy. Kind of, you're out there a little bit more of the mountains. A little more trees, stuff like that.
Well, Blackburn's
Founders
facilities there too.
Yeah, Blackburn's facilities there. Founders is great too, though. Founders, if you drive it well, you can tear it up. But if you don't, you can hit a lot of balls out of bounds.
Well, I played it a couple weeks ago, and those greens were much quicker than what I've been used to.
They can get those greens so fast at Founders. I mean, that number, before they fixed number 2 at Founders, I mean, when they're rolling as fast as they are right now, I mean, if you hit it on the wrong shelf, you just put it in the water. I mean, there's plenty of holes where you're like, I just don't want that putt. So it's a good golf course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when they get dormy and they're rolling about a 13, and then you get a downhill and that's rolling about 15, it's not fun.
Yeah. The legacy's kind of grown on me. You know, at first I liked Founders a lot better, but the more I've played Legacy, I've kind of really come to enjoy the nuances of, especially of their greens.
Yeah, 100%. They do a lot of good work to that golf course too. You know, with adding a lot of the rock features and, you know, adding a lot of stuff to that golf course. They've done a really good job with it.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask you real quick about the new facility at Alabama.
Pretty, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Man, I tell you what, if you can't get better there, it's your own fault. And it really is. It is pretty. I mean, we had our alumni event up there a couple of weeks ago, and I told a lot of guys, I was like, man, like I never left. I mean, you got a full kitchen, weight room, golf, place you can study, big old TVs. I'm like, just set me up a cot. I'm good. Like, I mean, shower, cold plunge. I mean, literally everything that you can think of that you would want in golf, they have. I'm like, just put me a bed. Just give me a cot. I'd have never left.
Who'd you play with?
At our alumni event?
Yeah.
I played with me, Corey, Bobby, and Lee Knox. Yeah, we had a great time. I mean, too much fun. We had a good time.
Indian Hills, I heard, was in really, really good shape.
It really was. The greens were awesome. They did. I tell you what, they do such a good job, and they treat us so good, so good. That's such a good club, and what they've done. I am looking forward to next year playing. The Crimson Reserve. They'll be looking forward to going in there and playing it one day with coaching them too. So
yeah.
Great. How much do you still stay in touch with Coach Sewell? A lot.
We talk a lot. Oh yeah, I go down there and play with the guys some, and before all my kids, I went down there all the time. But I go down. I try to go down there, once every couple months and hang out with guys and see Coach and play and hang out. It's fun.
That facility, you're gonna head down there a little bit more now that the facility is.
Told my wife I was probably gonna be down there a little bit more, just make sure everything's good. Make sure there's nothing I need to be working on or something like that. So talk her in. I gotta go down there early and get back. So.
Yep, Chris, you had a couple of things you wanted to bring up to Trey, taking him back.
Well, when I start telling you asking these, Trey, you're going to know where they came from.
Oh boy!
So tell me the story about a first youth camp in Destin.
With Jamin Grubbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jamin, being the great leader he is, he takes a bunch of these youth kids, right? And we go down there and we're staying at this hotel. And me, I was a good kid, but I wasn't scared to, do something crazy. And we go to this place and we check in our room and there's a 6-pack of beer in our room. And I obviously take it and show Jamin. I'm like, hey, look what I got in my room, and so that was pretty funny. Yeah. Jamin's always like, yeah, that's how great I am. I took a youth trip over there and check in our room and there's 6-pack of beer. We quickly left there. We didn't stay there very long.
I was going to say, you probably had the most favorite room on the trip.
Yeah, we quickly left there. Jamin was like, all right, and we're leaving.
So Jamin likes to for the people who don't know, the pastor at my church, Jamin Grubbs, was Trey's youth pastor as he was growing up.
Yes,
there in Gardendale.
Big part of my life.
And I like to pick at Jamin. He's a big target.
He is. Don't poke him too much, though. I poked him a couple times too many times.
Well, so he told me a couple more stories. One was, I think you guys were maybe playing in Coleman's at Cross Creek. And the story is, you can refute this, but that at the turn, he's playing really well, he's under par, and he's beating you and starts running his mouth.
Yeah.
And and he said that you, I think, shot 7 under on the back 9 and put him in his place.
Yeah, there's been a couple of stories about like that. And so he, I do remember that because he's always like, I'm going to beat you. I'm like, you're not going to beat me. Like, you're not going to beat me. And that day, honest to goodness, he started playing really well. And I was like, man, like, is he going to beat me today? Like, daggum. Like, he's kind of hitting every shot. He's making the putts he's got to make. And he started talking some trash. I don't think we spoke a whole lot on the back. And after that, he was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. He said that he poked the bear and the bear bit back. But and I think he may have caddied for you a time or two.
He caddied for me in Canada my rookie year. Where were we? Up there in the middle of nowhere, Canada.
He said Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia. That's exactly where it was.
Yeah.
So we had lobster rolls on the like they had like a little pier we went down there on, and we hung out, and it was such a fun week. I got to get him to caddy for me again. That was fun. We had a really good.
So what happened about picking your ball up?
Yeah, that's his fault.
Yeah.
That's his fault. I mean, he was caddying. He should have told me.
Yeah.
So it's pouring down rain all week. I mean, pouring down rain, and the golf course is soaked. The first day we played lift, clean, and place. And so, it might have been the opposite. It's probably the first round. We just got done playing lift, clean, and place all week the week before. Now, I think it was the first round. We're on I think it's the first hole. And for some reason, I thought we were playing lift, clean, and place. And I put my tee down, picked my ball up, throw it to Jamie, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, it's not lift, clean, and place. He was like, no. I'm like, where were you on that one, dude? Like, I mean, come on, first hole, you're supposed to be on your game. Yeah, I literally think it was the first hole of the tournament we were in. And I'm like, hey, Jamie, welcome to professional golf here. Your pro just got a 2-shot penalty because he thought it was lift, clean, and place. I think we ended up missing the cut by 1.
Oh gosh.
So he always blames me for his one missed cut was because I picked up the ball. So
yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to visit with us. And
no problem at all.
We've really enjoyed having you on here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Anytime y'all want to holler at me, heck, shoot, after this year, if we get a dub, we'll have to come back on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love it. Again, I appreciate y'all having me on. I love listening to y'all's podcast with Lee and Stuart. I'm going to have to go back and listen to some more too. So Stuart was a role model of mine for a long time. I've gotten to build a friendship with him. So he's a good man.
He sure is.
Yes, sir. He is. I hope he gets to become Ryder Cup captain one day. So
yeah,
that's the goal.
We do too.
Yeah, it'd be pretty awesome. So again, thank y'all for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Trey. Good luck. Again, thanks a lot to Trey Mullinax of the PGA Tour, Birmingham resident. It's always really nice to get some insight from those guys on tour, tell their stories, and I think that's what kind of makes the Cart Barn podcast what it is.
I agree, Greg. Thanks again to Trey, and tune in again next week. We've got another exciting guest on the Cart Barn podcast. Thanks for listening.